Hello and welcome everybody. I'm here with beautiful Glenda Dawson here on Connecting with the Stars with me, Mary Edwards. And I'm glad you're all here today to get some insights into Glenda's incredible life and some of the things she's done. How are you doing today, Glenda?
Fantastic. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. We always like when there's a new moon in Cancer and new changes are coming. And you on the East Coast in Pennsylvania are dealing with floods and insanity, and I'm here in California with fires and homelessness. I mean, we all deal with all these things. So today, I know we're going to talk about your near-death experiences and cover other topics. And maybe we can also help after we do that, talk to people about calming themselves down. It's a really tricky time right now, as we know, and it's not going to go away soon, but we have to focus on the positive things and how we can rebuild and reboot ourselves every day to find the best and not listen, not to get down into the fear that we do. So, we always have great conversations. So wherever we lead, it will be what we're supposed to talk about today.
Exactly.
I'm going to go over a brief bio of Glenda that could take all day long because she does everything. So I'll make it as brief as I can. But for those of you who have not seen or know about her, you should. She's incredible. So Glenda Dawson is the owner and founder of Glendas Magical Creations Spiritual Center in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. She is an ordained non-denominational minister. She is a current matriarch of a lineage of gifted matriarchal oracles going back at least 8 generations. She is also available for weddings, hand fastings, house blessings, and cleansings. Glenda is also a holistic and spiritual teacher, a published author, and is a Reiki Grandmaster level of so many. I would be here for the next half an hour of many, many different things, from old to young to everybody. Just incredible background and trainings that you've had. She's a galactic shaman, an earth shaman, an Egyptian shaman, a DNA activation practitioner. She's a renowned published psychic and medium, tarot card reader, and teacher. She's a certification provider. She does past life regression practicing. She's an animal communicator. She's a multidimensional channeler. She's an angelic communicator and channeler and healer. She does ascended masters communication and channeling, conscious channeling and healer of spiritual life, an intuitive coach, a mentor, a paranormal investigator, and light language translator. So it's sort of a tongue twister to get all that out.
Yes.
She is an emissary and ambassador at the Galactic Alliance, formerly the Wish Alliance, and has done many, many other speakings and teachings, and is just, she is available in person and online and streaming. She is also the owner of Glenda's Magical Creations channel on the Conscious Awakening Network on Roku. I share her in that joy of what we're going to be putting up today. But anyway, it's wonderful to have you here as always. I love your energy and all the layers and prisms that you share with me and everyone that you connect.
Thank you. I love to be here with you always. So
yeah, you want to start out with your maybe a little bit of when the near-death experience was, and then just take it to, the sort of the hows and whys and what it felt like, and just share with other people who have maybe never had one or curious about it.
Well, I've had now 6 near-death experiences. My last one occurred less than 6 months ago.
Wow. When did the first one start? And is the
first
why? Or is it
first one? First one, I believe I was 13, if I remember correctly. They all start to blend in. I feel like a cat with 9 lives, and I'm like counting down. Oh, I only got 3 more to go.
No, you don't.
No, but what I believe is that the reason it's happened to me so many times is to show me a lot more. Like maybe, I'm having a rough time, or I am just not understanding what's happening with humanity at that moment or anything like that. And like this last one was just to show me that the difference of my energy being here or not being here, the difference in certain people's energy being alive in the world at this time versus not being here. And they actually kind of just took me, and it was a quick, in real time, in time, Earth time, it was quick, but in reality, to me, it seemed like, a year. They actually showed me the two paths. Well, if I stay here and don't go anywhere, this is how the energy is being transmitted, it's helping people and all that. And then if I decide to stay up there, it's, as I call it, a lot of people call it differently, but I like to refer that way. Then all the people that do never really get the opportunity to learn about the truth and about spirituality and about healing and awaken and even ascend, because I decided that, okay, I'm done, peace out.
And you have a choice in that time. I've read
Yes,
several other
yes,
five
yes,
people you meet in heaven, and several other books. What was the other one I wrote down? A Proof of Heaven.
yes,
Um,
yes. You do have a choice.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, oh, they died their way, their own timing. They did. They were like, okay, I'm tired. My kids are done. This is done. This is done. I'm going to go to sleep and not wake up. And if you are strong enough, you can do that. In which case, I recommend that you come back, because you were put here for a reason. And when it's your time, you shouldn't play God, as they say. When it's your time, when you have truly done what you came here for, then they'll know and they'll say, okay, it's almost time. You got, a month, so take care of your business. And then you'll know. Everybody knows. If you pay attention, you know when it's really your time.
Right.
And
And
when
it
it's
really
time to
is
go.
were you aware? I mean, I know from childhood, some of the programs, some of the things that
Right.
I call it strength through struggle. I always know when I was low or confused or not on the right track. I mean, our galactic family, God, whoever we all,
Right.
we know we are guided by and supported by and loved by, will give us a wake-up call, a shaking and a wake-up call in different ways. And it doesn't matter how evolved, whether you're in 3D or 5D or million D, we all have different processes that we are taken through that we can handle. And did you ever have forewarnings when you said there were maybe times when we were weaker in life, or we had to bump up a level? It's like more than an upload. I mean, that's
it's
pretty
a little
severe.
more
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty a big wake up call that you went through many times.
When I did have my third child, I knew that there was going to be complications that would put me in that situation. And I did. I ended up being in a coma for 8 or 9 hours. Couldn't wake up. They wouldn't wake up. And they were all like, I was still breathing and I was still okay, but I was in a coma. And they were really scared I was not going to come back. And I was like, oh no, guys, this is not the time. I just had a child and that child needs me. All the other times that I offered, you said no, but now I'm refusing. So I'm going back there.
So we're all the way through the pregnancy then? Because I was in a hurricane when I was pregnant with my son.
Right.
6 months old in Brighton, England, when I was working for NASA. And I said, well, what can happen in Brighton, England? And I was like, sort of cavalier thinking, well, I can go there from California and in and out. Well, boy, did I have a wake up call. And then I came, we had a hurricane. barely made it out of Brighton, England. I came back. There was a burglar robbing my former husband in my house. And then I was put on preterm labor for 2 months. They took away
Right.
my phone. They wouldn't allow me to work. So it was like, okay, I get it.
We get it.
And it scared the bejeebies out of me because my ego or my lack of paying attention to what the doctor and my intuition was saying, well, what really could happen? I've never been in a hurricane. I've never, anyway, so I knew, and I still talk to my son who's 35 now. And I just say, I can't believe I put you at risk that way. And he said, Mom, I'm fine. And he was jaundiced. He had a few issues that that I think was direct response of some of the trauma, and they put me on some drugs back, that was 35 years ago, that I didn't like in the hospital. I mean, it was like, and I don't do drugs, and so anyway, I think I've always felt that I got warnings that I wasn't paying attention to, because I just thought I need to be doing what I want to do, even though I've always, I'm a good parent, but that was my first, and I think that was my galactic family or God or whoever it was, or a whole combination of things, just saying, not okay, wake up next time. And I did it totally different with my second child. So I think we all learn there are red flags, I think, maybe along the way. Sometimes I like a few other people I've talked to that didn't want it, thought they shouldn't go on the raft trip, and then they did, and they died, and they had a near-death experience for the third time on the second raft trip they had been on when the rapids were too big. So does that sort of make sense, and that you were concerned, or
I had a feeling. I just knew that something was not going to go the way it normally would go. It had already two others, and I knew at that point. I don't know. As soon as I heard that I was pregnant, well, I knew right away I was pregnant. But actually, the day of conception, I knew I was pregnant. But I heard a voice, just make sure you take care, because this could end up. And he had actually done a cut in the uterus, and he had been able to put his head up against, so his head and my organ were basically helping keep him inside and keep us both healthy.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. So, and they didn't discover that until they had actually opened me up.
Is he different than the other ones in any particular way? Or if you've ever talked to him about that, does he go, if he had any memory of that, or is he?
No,
just everybody has something.
Right, yeah. They're all very good kids, thank God. I have to be very grateful for that. I mean, any one of us, no matter how good we plant that seed, or those seeds, you never know what the influence, the outside influence is. And I'm very blessed. They're all got good kids, got good partners, or wives, husbands, whatever the case may be. And I'm very blessed. It could be gone really bad in many ways. So
people also say, and I've talked to you a little bit about this before, that at that moment when you have the choice, and either God or whoever's up there says,
divine, I usually call it this way.
Yeah, God. Yeah, I think that's what most people,
universal word.
Universal word, source, or God. If they don't like that, people don't like that word particularly. And did you, and you can remember that clearly, that you are not, I mean, we're not, I don't think we're ever really ready to go, are we? I mean, maybe if people are in a
I feel that some people are.
Yeah, and maybe more now, because we're seeing that more and more now, right?
Right.
So much.
I had a friend who I was taking care of. She was a lot older than I was. And she told me 2 years before she finally left, she's like, I'm ready. I got no family. I got no kids. I'm the only one in the thing. I'm in this nursing home. I didn't even want to get past age of, I think she said 74. She wanted to get to 74. I didn't want to go past that. Here I am. I'm 76. I'm ready to go whenever I need to go. So it's, it's all up to however they feel. So
Right. A lot of it is sickness at the end, whatever age they're
right,
at. My
right.
friend and several friends who had cancer, and they just said, I'm done. No.
Uh-huh.
I'm done.
Yes, done. It's very cancer, depending on which one you have, it could be very painful. Very painful. And sometimes, there's just like, you know what? I lived a long life. I did what I wanted to do. It's okay. So, and sometimes, you have to respect that. You really do. But I don't recommend that everybody decides to go that way, because there's still so much to do. Each and every one of us has always a lot of stuff to do that we signed up for. We just may not have come up against it yet.
Right.
So,
Well, and I think today too, I mean, every era, we talked to older people. I talked to my dad who passed, and I said, what was it like being stuck in an Alzheimer's place for 10 years before you passed? And he's now passed many years, almost a decade now. And he said, actually, it was nice. He said, I had visitors from Galactic Family he said it was quiet. It was actually a nice transition. I still felt like I was helping and doing things. It was just, I've been so busy in my life. So anyway, I think we all know that there are all these different ways that we can, if we need to check out, or in his company had sold, and that was what he did his whole life. So I think we all make those choices in different ways, like what you're saying. And I think now for many of us, and anybody who's listening here, we're all wanting to, saying, what do we seek? What do we need now? And I say, I need answers. I want the truth. I want to help humanity. We're all here to play our part in this beautiful experiment called humanity. And we know it's at a huge tipping point. We know it's at a big, anyway, we think we've never seen such diversity, but I'm sure every era has their time.
Every few generations, they say, oh my God, this is terrible. Everybody's separated. And then you read on history, and then, a few more generations come along, and it's the exact same thing. It's like, the older generations used to say, oh, those teenagers. We were teenagers, they were teenagers, and they probably did the exact same thing. It's like,
and now we have older kids. We say, oh, those kids, oh, those millennials. I mean, that is, I think that goes on. And I think for those of us who like our work or like our life, or know we're here for a mission, I mean, I'm happier now than I've ever been. And I've always been pretty happy. I mean, I've always been a positive person like you have been. And we all go through ups and downs in life. I finally accept that, sort of, anyway.
That roller coaster, man, that roller coaster ride.
Yeah, and now I'm learning all these things that I wondered, why did I do art, then interior design, then architecture, then, I was just doing real estate, weaving all these things together. And now, as I told you about it, now I'm working on habitats off planet. I don't have one interior job going on right now here on Earth. And I don't even know how I see it, how I get to it off planet, but I've been doing that for 40 years, and I've been teaching off planet for 10 years, which all the same things I've been doing here forever, teaching, housing, helping people create their sense of place, a sense of beauty in their home, a practicality, whether it's little, like 1,000 square foot space like I have here with found objects and recycling.
A haven.
It's a heaven. I am in heaven on Earth right here in my little condo with my little spaceship design here. So I think, we are, I get tired of the word blessed, but we are blessed to be here at this time, and know we have a lot of work. Our environment is hurting. Our people are hurting. Our planet's hurting. And I just printed this out from Coast to Coast, because I can't stay up that late last night. Coast to Coast said, scientist, author, lecturer, and species explorer Quentin Wheeler. Have you ever heard of him? I never heard of him, but I don't know. I don't know anything. Has named more than 100 species new to science and published more than 175 specific papers. In the first half of the show last night, he revealed why he believes we have entered the first major mass extinction since the disappearance of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. And we know we've heard people say this is the end, it's an apocalypse, and we go, no, we haven't completely killed our planet yet. We're gonna try to help
actually
raise
surprised.
the consciousness.
Yes.
So he said, according to Wheeler, species are going extinct hundreds to thousands of times faster than in prehistory. With a background as an entomologist, he confirmed the notion that we are seeing fewer insects, such as those used to accumulate on car windshields. One study noted an 80% decline in local insect populations in just the last 20 years. I heard somebody talking about bugs yesterday on NPR driving home from Silicon Valley. I'm going, why are they talking about bugs? He said, the bugs can't even breathe anymore, and they're expiring in this heat in all of the places all over the world right now. So anyway, and he said the decline in local insect population in the last 20 years, this is a frightening decline that would also have an effect on birds and insects, etc. Climate change and the use of pesticides and agriculture, as we pretty much know, are factors in the insect decline. While there is hard data on the extinction of 500 plant species, 700 vertebrate animal species, that can be extrapolated up to the lost around 20,000 species per year, he suggested. However, with 10 million species to work with, there's still time to take steps to minimize the number we can ultimately lose. I think it's critical we can complete an inventory of life on Earth so that we know what we have lost. And from my perspective, he puts a strong ethical responsibility on us. We have it within our power to maximize the number of species that survive and to assure that those surviving are as diverse as possible. Diversity, he stressed, is crucial as it makes our ecosystems more resilient. Well, that goes for human beings and the warfare we're in politics and everything else that we're not going to go into. But, I'd never heard, I knew people had said, oh, we think it's going faster, but I'd never heard anybody said that it's hundreds to thousands of times faster than in prehistory. Right. I mean, I went to Alaska 35, 40 years ago with my parents. I took my kids right before COVID. And it was like, I thought, where am I? I am in a different place. All those, huge glaciers were melted. We didn't see penguins. We didn't see animals. It was like we were hiking places. So anyway, I think we know all this, and that's what can also drive us. We know when, we hear facts like this to create what we do for humanity. You do tirelessly, and I do as much as I can to help create. I do habitats and art and design, and you do, the spiritual, every other level from Reiki to all the wonderful things that you do. And I think that's basically the bottom line, is that we're all here to play our part to help sort of raise this consciousness, get people up and looking at the stars and the skies at night and honoring and respecting our planet Earth and this diversity. And we know there are no solutions right at this minute, but we all can help to create a little more positivity and optimism that we can do stuff every day, every day, all day long, or a few times a day, or one smiley face a day, or whatever it takes us to really help raise the consciousness.
Exactly. Those glaciers that have melted, those had a part in the penguins and the bears and all that other stuff, because they all depended on the coldness of that, the ability to, get substance, even if they didn't think they did, or we don't understand how they did, but they did. Every single part of Earth is made for a reason, is here for a reason. And if we take an insect that, say, bats eat, what are the bats going to eat? Right? I mean, I'm not saying that the bats only eat insects, but it creates that domino effect. So
It breaks the change of the ecosystem. It's like
right,
composting. If
exactly.
that the bird population can't eat, if the trees don't have enough water, I mean, you're watching flooding. We need not flooding here, but we need what you need, and you need what we. I mean,
No, I don't need fires. Thank
no,
you.
you
I
don't need
got those
fires,
up
but
there.
I'm just saying we need water, and you don't
Right.
need water right now. There's just
No, no.
crazy abundance that we are seeing that's so extreme, as we know, and it's not. I mean, our total climate has changed here in California.
Right. Well, think about it. Where do those glaciers go? Right. Evaporated. They got to go
Right.
somewhere. So that's what we're getting. Really.
Right.
We're getting all that excess water where normally it would be evened out. You know, yes, you would have your hot days there, but it wouldn't be pouring so much here that it wouldn't allow that to move over. So that's where you're getting your fires. Or you will get a little rain eventually coming in, but it wouldn't, nothing would be in excess of as it is right now.
Right.
Everything is
Out of
off
proportion.
kilter. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's extreme. And even like, you are on the East Coast, my East Coast friends say, oh, now we get what you Californians have talked about with the air.
Yeah.
New York, you get it
Oh.
down there. I mean, the Canadian wildfires, people would say, Mary, it can't be that bad. I said, it is that bad. And I take a picture of what you guys see, you can see on the East Coast
Yeah.
now. So I think we're all experiencing it all over the planet right now. That really global warming, this is real. And
Yeah.
the flood, I've had 10 or 15 people who have gone off the grid say, get out of California, get out of San Francisco. And I said, oh, well, my kids are here. I'm not leaving. I'll be
Right.
gone before it probably were flooded over. And I'm on a hill I bought intentionally on Pacific Heights.
Right.
So I did. I mean, I've always been concerned about that, and I've studied that for a long time. But I think we just have to keep ourselves and others on the upward shift daily, clear out the negativity as much as we can, put those bubbles around us that we can, to move through each day with as much ease and comfort and happiness and calm as we can. And to me, being an interior designer mostly forever, I mean, I went through the back door because I can walk into a space and see what people, just clutter is distracting and as harmful as certain words are. I mean, I think people, because of COVID, did have to restructure their interiors to create room for their families and their husbands who they maybe only talk to before in the morning or in the night. I don't have one anymore, so I don't know. But that did change in awareness, and now people, as we know, half the culture in our countries is fighting to go back to work, because they now like where they've moved and they've liked being home. They've adjusted and they just all want to go to Europe. They said that on the news last night, they said that right now there are 500,000 US passports backed up for 3 to 4 months to go and they're, because they can't get out. When my son was going to London to visit my daughter, who's living there for a few years, a few months ago, I said, you better get your flight now. It's going to get worse. People are going to go a little more cuckoo by the summer. And we know now, we can see what's going on with the flights. And I mean, look at Florence, look at the news. I mean, my daughter was just they travel a bunch on the weekends. They live in London. And she said, oh my God, between the flights and all the Americans escaping because they're in post-COVID craziness from being at home too much, or whatever. I mean, and just people want to get out. I
think it's, now that COVID has eased up a little bit, I think people are like, we want our lives back, and they don't understand that it's all, you can't rush everything. You gotta slow it down. Slow it down, so it stays. So it stays away.
Right.
You panic too much and you
overreact. Right.
Overreact and do things without thinking. And then all of a sudden you're going to find yourself in the same situation.
Right.
And it's like, just calming down, because I'm still cautious. I still like to I always wash my hands like 50 million times. I cook and I'm like washing my hands in between. I stir and I go wash my hands. That has always been with me. But it's like, calm down. Don't go one extreme to the other. That's when it gets all backed up.
And also we have the elections coming up. I mean, this is a combination of PSTD on so many different levels. We talk about mental health, but people don't break it down really. I mean, yes, they talk about opiates and fentanyl here in my state, in your state. It's everywhere, but it's so much more than that. We've got to help our kids. We've got to help our seniors. We've got to help all ages to transition back to the new normal, because there is no old normal. I don't know why people still even think that there's going to be disclosure with ET tomorrow or this year. Why do people even talk about all this? But the most important thing is to get our, I've done wellness interiors for 50 years. You've done wellness for your whole life. And I think we just have to help people go step by step, to breathe, walk on a free beach like I do every couple of days. And of course, we've had more traffic on these highways. So the people who can't fly go on the highways. And we have 10 or 12 mass shootings on 580, which is about 20 minutes from me in Oakland every day now. And I have homeless all
people feel
it's just crazy. So, and I think people can't feel comfortable at home. And that's why a lot of people like to get out of California or wherever they are, because now people feel like they're getting closed in more, not just from politics. And I think that's why people are so happy with sports and Wimbledon. Heroes, we need heroes now. And, we want heroes. And thank God for our Steph Curry, who got a hole-in-one yesterday on the golf course. I mean, I was driving, people were clapping in bars on the streets. Yay for positive action. And
exactly.
Hollywood striking. And I know several actors,
the writers.
I mean, it's really an interesting time that we have to find peace within our hearts. Our heart is the most important organ, not our mind. We have to go inside, make our homes comfy and cozy, light candles, eat well as we can, that we can afford. Go for walks where any of the parks that are safe. A friend's 15-year-old friend from high school got beaten up 2 blocks away from here. I'm in a pretty neighborhood at 1 a.m. by 12 guys, and they beat him up, and they took his $800 shoes and left him there. And it was all teenagers. It was all 13 to 15-year-olds. They found him. So we know that, it's getting younger and younger because people are hurting more economically and, financially and all that stuff.
Disempowered. They're disempowered. Right. They don't feel like they have any control or way of managing their life or how they're living or what they do or don't do. Even in our generation, we were, oh my God, our parents are too strict, But eventually we felt empowered enough to say, no, that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm not thinking about accounting, because my parents were both accountants and they wanted me to be an accountant, of course. And I'm like,
you are naturally anyway. I mean, you do it within your many businesses, or you would be still doing so many different things, right?
But still, it's like, no, I can't see myself sitting there in day out doing the exact same thing. Now, not that a paralegal wasn't the exact same thing, but it was different cases. Right. So even if you were doing the exact same documents and the exact same procedure, each case brought in different light, different way of using your brain, different way of looking at things.
And problem solving, right?
Right. So, and right now, it is extremely hard out here for everyone, because if you are in a positive mode, there's so many people around you that could bring you down. There's so many things that could happen at any given moment. And let's face it, it isn't just now. It's always been that way, but we've had this false feeling of security that everything's going to turn out exactly how we want it all the time.
Like the American dream that's broken its bubble. We
Right.
always were, we can improve. If we work hard, we will
We can
improve, we
improve.
will make money, and we will have maybe more things. I mean, I've
Right.
always liked less is more anyway, but yes,
Right.
I like my IKEA table, and I like my table from the secondhand store, but we still want it.
Which, by the way, I
The
love.
American dream is sort of, thanks, isn't
Yeah.
that great? It was like
I
20
love it.
bucks, like 30 years ago, that lamp was $5. And
Ooh,
during
nice.
COVID, I didn't like it because it looked like a COVID thingy, but it looks like a planet more than anything to me.
I love it.
And that little ball over there that looks like a globe, that's an
Yeah.
ornament, an old ornament that a friend was going to throw out. And I just put it on a little stand. It looks like the universe to me with reflection.
It looks beautiful. See, it's
But
all,
it's all
how
about
you do.
creativity and imagination.
Exactly.
Each generation saying, okay, and now because of COVID, we have a whole population that's saying, what can I do smarter, better, or that's more like me? I don't want to go to the office, and I will fight for my, I'll go in part-time. I mean, everybody
Right.
has to negotiate what's fair. Like 3 days a week you go in, so like half of San Francisco is not empty, and they have to shut down. But I think it's the resilience is so much more important now, and become an activist. And that's why we want to help these kids, these children, these smart kids who are coming in, who are saying, I don't feel safe at school. I don't feel safe at home. They don't even know about the new PSTDs that they have from not having the security. There was more abuse, obviously, during COVID. There was more fires or more floods. People don't feel safe very much anymore, even in their homes, with all their packages getting stolen off their front porch. I mean, it is a different time that maybe that happened around the world wars when there was a depression, and that's sort of what we hear about or read about, and we can sort of feel how awful it was when people were really starving, and
that's where our job comes in, right?
Right.
Our job comes in and trying to heal that this empowerment feeling, to try to heal whatever has happened to them, to help them and encourage them to move forward, look forward, and see a future that they want to create. Because we know now that we can create our future.
Right.
We're the ones who stop it. We're the ones who start it. We're the ones that make it. And sometimes, people are afraid of even taking those first steps because there's so much out there. And all you can hear all the time is all the negative, and you really don't hear the good out there. Like the other day, I saw a video. Offhand, I can't even remember where, but I saw a video of a man that he acts like a homeless person. And I saw people, instead of giving him money, I saw people, he was make believe that he was asleep. So people stealing money from him. Instead of, he's homeless, he's there, he's got his little box, please, I want food, whatever. And instead of that, there were some people who were actually taking the money instead of leaving it. Now, there are a couple of scenarios where some people actually give them money and will wake them up and say, here, I want to make sure nobody takes it from you. And what happened was that those people actually got rewarded. He gave them not only the money that they gave back, but he gave them tons of money, because he didn't need the money, but he was creating a social experiment to say, look at how this is. Look how bad this is, that right now I'm a homeless person, or I appear to be a very good homeless person, and yet people are still taking even more advantage of me.
Right.
And instead of helping him.
Right.
And he
So
was
that's
showing
a good example of how, even, and of course, the more homeless you are, I mean, there's he's in the population there. So all those people are mostly hurting. So it's not like he did it in your neighborhood or my neighborhood that's maybe a little bit better, where maybe it'd only be 1 out of 50 people that would take your money. It'd be almost everyone. But
he did it. He did it. He's been doing it everywhere. He's been doing it in the poor and the rich and in the middle, and he's been doing it everywhere. He's got a good 250 videos of him.
Wow, that's
and
crazy.
His other partners doing different scenarios. They call it social experiments because
It
they
is.
want to show how there is still kindness in humanity.
Right.
It's hard to find these days, but there is still kindness. There are still people thinking about others, and there are still people who, even though that could be their last quarter, they're still saying, you're here, you don't have a roof over your head, you're going to need it more than I do.
That's right.
And
I
that's
still give money to the homeless when I worked with them for 30, 40 years. I sort of stopped, but I do I always give money, but that's a really good example. And even I went to get some lipstick a couple weeks ago because I ran out of Walgreens, and I called for the person at my neighborhood. And I said, where are all the lipsticks? And the woman looked at me and she said, haven't you seen the news? I said, you mean, it was like 4 feet of all the lipsticks were stolen. And I said, oh my gosh, of course. So people don't feel safe because police do not have accountability now in the city and everywhere. But that's a really nice story to know that there's still, we have to reignite hope and support and safety in our hearts and our environments as much as we can. And it's not easy, right? It's
no matter where you are, we have to feel safe. It used to be home was our haven, right? There's a lot during COVID, there was a lot of people that didn't feel safe in their homes.
Right.
So once you lose that safety net in your own place where you reside, that's very disconcerting. So
right. And just like the ultimate test of what you were just talking about, it's so the percentage of people who want to help are more than we have to remember.
Right.
Most humans bad? No. Are most ETs bad? No. It's a small percentage. Then we have to try to remember that when we get yelled at or somebody gives you the finger on the street, like I got the other day, like driving 2 blocks away. It's like, are you kidding? And then I go, Mary, just don't respond. Don't respond. But, people are really triggered right now. People are angry. People have lots of
We don't know what's going to happen, right?
We don't know what's going to happen. So we just,
and
that's why I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to.
Not that we ever did, but it just seems like now it's out in the open and we all get to realize we really don't know what's going to happen.
Right. We really don't. And I want to be one of the people who are going to go, and if we go, we won't even probably know we're going to go. We'll probably it probably won't be in our lifetime, but maybe if it is, it'll happen. But I think we just need to try to help the handful of people that come to us or you or me to just say, okay, we got to breathe a lot. We've got to spend more time in nature. We've got to make just declutter, take 1 bag every day out of I have to do that. And I've done this for 50 years for other people. I have to declutter every day because my food cabinets, some of my drawers are just gross. So it's like during COVID, I went, ew, I can't believe I've got all this stuff that are 5 or 10 years old or these clothes. I think that makes me feel good every day that I take, whether it's a half a bag, a little thing, and I put it down in the trash and I get Goodwill. There are little things that we can do, and that's what our goals can be. Little goals.
One step at a time.
One step at a time, one day at a time, like AA says. I can just we all just go by those. So, and I was getting some soil early this morning while I was waiting for an appointment. And you can get one little herb thing and put it in your, plant some herbs in your house. You can't, if you don't have the money or green grass. I don't have any green grass. That's a concrete slab out there that I have, but I have trees out there. I have a tree here. Grow things, eat healthy as much as you can, learn about herbs, plant a little garden, get a tomato plant. There are things where we can see growth and hope and nutritional nourishing of ourselves in our lives. And my friend Jessica gave me an orchid a couple of days ago when I was with her, and I was so excited. I don't really buy orchids for myself because it's just me here.
Yeah.
I said, thank you so much. I love flowers. I live for flowers. I always love flowers. I used to back in the olden days when I used to make money or I had a garden, I would just pick my flowers, and I always had flowers in 2 rooms. But anyway, it's the little things, and I walk when I walk down to the bank or something and I see a couple of flowers that the guys have mowed down on the side. I pick them up and I bring them home and I feel better. So I think if we try to just breathe and write down 2 or 3 things that we like. Do you like the water? Do you like the trees? Be a tree hugger, go outdoors, walk on the beach. I mean, I'm down there all the time and I see people jogging through downtown when I go for a doctor's appointment or something. I go, God, just walk 20 more minutes and go on the water. It's much prettier and you're not getting hit up or shot at or, on concrete. Take your shoes off, walk on grass for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
There are ways that we can connect and ground ourselves and ascend at the same time to make ourselves feel better and the people around us feel better.
Exactly. It's all about taking one day at a time. It's all about healing, because once you heal yourself, you're actually healing everyone else around you. That part of oneness. And people just don't understand that. But I think even good example, the other day I was going in to a doctor's office, and the lady that was coming out just like, hey, how are you? How's everything? How's the weather? You enjoying this weather? And I'm like, you know what? That just made my day.
And we do that back. I mean, I try to do that every couple of days and it's like, wow, it's just simple acts of kindness, right? Loving kindness, like Ram Dass and people have said forever. Just say hello, smile.
Exactly.
Just have a nice expression on your face.
You don't have to pay. You don't have to do anything. A smile doesn't cost anything. Right. And it will eventually, even if you cannot feel it, will make you feel better.
Right. So
a lot of people say to me, oh, I can't smile. I'm in having to. I said, just fake it until you make it. And it does happen.
Right. Somebody at my tennis club the other day, I was going to play tennis the other afternoon. And it was this guy that I've known forever, who's older than I, like 10 years older than I am. I said, how you doing? He said, breathing. I said, you're more than breathing. You're sitting there out on the court. You're having fun with all your buddies I've been watching you play with. And he went, oh, thanks, Mary. You always do that. It was like, okay, breathing, surviving, we are.
You're doing that, but you're limiting.
We are what we eat. And if we don't have good thoughts, we know it all starts with the thoughts. And I try to get those negative thoughts out of my mind, or a judgment or something. I have to do it all day long to keep myself up. We all do. We get so triggered ourselves by.
Yeah. I mean, we're human, right? We're still human.
We're human. For better, for worse. And here we are.
Right. We chose this time, this life. So, it's okay. I like being here.
I do. I'm thrilled to be here. I mean, we just, we keep chugging along, and it's going to be hard for years. And we see the beauty in each day, and in talks like this to help each other sort of process it and talk through it to keep each other up. And I think this is a nice ending of our talk today. I think this is from near death to living our life, right?
Exactly. Stay positive as much as you can. And those days you can't, fake it. Keep smiling. And eventually it will just happen.
Right. And we can fake it. And also we can just, we fake it till we make it. And then if we honestly do the smile and look somebody in the eyes, I always do that at grocery store. I bag my own, hi, how are you today? And people are so stunned when you actually talk to them and not are angry or throw up all over them. Like, I'm in a hurry and car wash or whatever it is. I think we can really do that. It's training. It's getting out of bad habits as we age and in a different world that we're in right now. We have to be smarter and cleaner and more safe and nicer. And it does rub off. All those, Mom used to say, she died a few years ago, 98, she'd say 98% of everything is attitude. And I've always believed her in that. Thanks, Mom, because it really is true. We all have stuff, we all have a lot of stuff. We're all struggling.
We're humans, we're living in this world that it's coming at us from all different ways. So we're all just trying to do the best.
Right. And we have roof over our heads and we have good
Mhm.
conversations like this. And thank you so much for being here today, Glenda. I always
Thank
enjoy
you.
our conversations and
Same.
you.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much. And you can see Glenda's website here. You can reach her at www.glendamagicalcreations.com. She has, look on her website, she has beautiful, many different techniques that she can help guide you through.
Mhm.
Short, long, more expensive, less expensive. Reiki, you've got things every single day of the week, right?
Yeah, practically, yes.
You do. I know your schedule just to get you on this is always tough. But, she's a really beautiful healer and she's helped me. I've talked to her about things and I really always come out feeling a lot better. So
Thank you.
look her up and listen to this and pass it on. Pass the baton on to be nice a little bit more every day to each other and ourselves. So anyway, thanks for all for being here and lots of love to you, Glenda, and your family.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye.